Hey guys, I know it's been a while since I made a video, but I had this idea and I wanted to do it before I lost steam. I want to make a series of how-to videos for fly fishing. I should actually call them how-I videos because there's no correct way to do this. There's no right way or wrong way to fly fish. There are ways that effectively catch more fish, but you should fish for you. It's important to me that I always catch fish the way I want to, you know, so don't feel like you're limited. First and foremost, I wanted to do, because it is early spring, a video about early season smallmouth fishing. So there's a lot of ways to early season smallmouth fish. I have one that I like every year. April 1st, you know, late March, I start fishing for smallmouth before white bass even start running. And I do pretty good with it. Not necessarily awesome, but you fish pretty hard for a few fish, and they're always nice fish. Early season smallmouth are a little bit slower moving. The water is still really cold. When the water gets really cold, a bass's metabolism slows down a lot, so it makes it way harder for them to cut through the water. They don't eat as fast. They want slow presentations. They don't want to chase your fly. So really what you want to do is scan the water thoroughly and slowly so that you basically put the fly in front of the fish. In early season though, a lot of times the water is a little higher, it's murky, you can't see the fish. If you can see them, they can see you, and they're probably not gonna eat. So really, darker water, you know, dark green water, maybe 4 or 5 foot deep at the shallowest is where you wanna be. I usually like to go about 2 or 3 days after it rains. Once the mud's kind of washed out and the water's still really high and green, that is prime time for me. So my technique, what I like to do, I use a fly called a meat whistle. It's kind of like a zonker, but it's tied on a jig head. I like jig heads because they ride hook up, so when you're dragging your fly across the bottom, it doesn't seem to snag as much. So I use a meat whistle. I like water that has a good amount of current to it, and I'll have to put on sometimes a pretty good amount of split shot just to guarantee that that fly gets all the way down to the bottom, because I am fishing this fly on floating line. The reason I like fishing floating line though is because I really rely on the swing and the movement of the fly versus the line on top of the water, rather than a sinking line that'll sink with the water and kind of swing with it. I want my fly to face upstream. So cast wise, I like a good down and across cast about 40 degrees. You can let that hit and it'll swing across the river so your fly is facing up diagonally towards you. If you're fishing a jig fly and your fly's swimming at this angle, if a fish picks it up off the bottom, you're gonna hook it right on the top side of the mouth, and that's the best place to steer fish in my opinion. Or you can do a straight across cast and throw a large upstream mend. That way your fly has time to sink in the water column before it gets down to the strike zone and starts to swing across the bottom, still facing upstream, swimming diagonally towards you. And it's crazy what a difference that mend will make. You really want to pay attention to your mending when doing this, because if you've got your line bowing downstream with the current, it's going to drag your fly straight across the bottom. It's not going to be facing upstream, and you're going to go past that fish quicker than you need to. So really, down and across, good upstream mend so that your fly is more or less facing diagonally back up to you, and you just slowly stay connected with it so that it just kind of scoots across the bottom with the swing of the current. Bump that fish in the nose and he'll pick it up. There's just a couple kinds of strips that I'll do when early season smallmouth fishing. I like to toggle my fly in heavy current. Now a toggle is where you aren't actually stripping line in, you're just holding your line in your hand and kind of pulling it back and forth. So in the current, your fly as it's swinging, it's moving back and forth. It's a really good way to scan the bottom for fish because you can bump them right in the nose, and I feel like you cover a little bit more water with a toggle. I'll do really slow 2 to 3 inch strips that are pretty slow and deliberate. That way I'm connected with my fly. You know, doing a 2 or 3 inch strip that's really fast, you know, a fast small strip, I don't feel like you have the right amount of connection with what your fly's doing. I feel like with the slower the strip, you can feel everything that's going on. You can feel every little rock you touch. You can feel every little bump that you're hitting, and you can definitely feel a difference between a rock and a grab. When you're being more aggressive, I think it's more likely that you're gonna pull your fly up off the bottom. If you get an eat, you may miss it. I feel like the slower the connection, the better. Now for some people, that's kind of hard to do. It's hard to stay in touch with it. It's hard to have the patience to strip that slow and easy. So with that, you can do like kind of a longer, slow pull, maybe stripping a foot of line at a time, but just slowly through your fingers. You know, don't go ripping it through there. Get it nice and slow so that your fly stays on bottom. And that way when a fish sees it, he's gonna grab it instead of, because they're not gonna chase. They're not gonna chase in really early season. I mean, it could happen, but it's very rare. Your fish are gonna be slow and lethargic. So if you like this video, if you found it helpful, please hit subscribe below. If you use this fishing technique and you catch some fish, please message me and let me know. I would love some feedback. If there's anything that I can help you with, as I said, I don't know everything. I don't think there's a right way to do something, but I can tell you how I do it. And I'm a pretty lucky fisherman, so maybe what I'm doing is right. Who knows? But yeah, thanks for watching.